But, you know, so.
Yeah.
It was his immaturity. If he'd asked me, I think I would have tried him.
Yeah, how were you supposed to know? You probably thought he was content doing that, so. Well, I think we should probably get going at 7:30. So.
Is it? Okay.
Where are you going?
We have to go. I have to go home and let my dog out first of all, and then
Go practice.
I have to change and go to I have to go down there.
Okay.
We got a guy that's a Mexican guy. He's a music teacher. Lives right in the house over here.
Really?
And he plays drums. Du-du-du-du-du-du-dum. Du-du-du-du-du-dum. From 8 o'clock in the morning till 4 or 5 o'clock at night, the same thing. I don't know if he stops to eat. What the hell is he doing? And he's supposed to be a music teacher.
Really?
I heard it for the first time the other day. I said to him next door.
He only plays the snare drum. He doesn't play a whole kit. Like
No.
What's
That's
the
all
snare
drum?
Snare drum is it's a
Keep
drum that has
Same
snares
thing.
on the bottom. You know, metal wires that makes a particular sound.
I watch a program that this girl's a. What program do I love? And the girl's a drummer. Oh God, what's the name of that program? I love.
Annie?
Little House on the Prairie.
Yeah, I love that one. but this one.
Drummer. I don't know.
Oh God.
Oh yeah, I know. It's a Hallmark.
Hallmark. Yeah. He's that. Anyway.
And then Martha Stewart. You like her?
I can't stand her. I don't want to know how to cook things and put them together anymore. I did well
She's
enough.
dry
I just
for
had the
my
vegetables
taste. Been there, done that.
and the meat and just the ordinary things and maybe a couple of cookies a day. I was never a good cook. My mother was wonderful, but I was never.
You mean all that stuff that you cooked was from Century?
I don't know.
I have a feeling it
You
was.
weren't a bad
I
cook.
did do the crock pot. I went
Lasagna, right? Spaghetti.
Yeah. And,
That's my
and
mom's only trick too. Okay, we're taking
Her
this
father
right.
used to come over when we first got married, and Joel
Hamburger
never
helper.
cooked, never knew how. Her mother was a good cook and did
We
it.
had a maid,
And
too.
I forgot what he'd say. Gee, does Joel know how to make any besides, what was that you made?
I don't know, but you put it was in a
Chicken
can.
a la king.
Chicken out king.
That's what we had. Pa, we got chicken a la king. He said,
But I learned the
does
hard
Joel
way.
know how to make anything other than chicken a la king? In a nice way.
Yeah.
At least we had a big round table, and that's why I hated to give up that house. I didn't know I was. And all the girls were together, you know, and even when Julie left, they came. And I gave them each a vegetable, each a piece of meat, and I was trying to, you know, not too many cookies. None of them have ever had a problem that I know of.
With
Well, they-
cookies? I don't know.
Well, I mean, they're not too heavy, are they?
Oh, no. No, I don't think so.
I don't know.
I would never.
Anyway, it was fun. What did I know? My mother, I lived with my grandma till I was 11, and then my mother remarried. The first guy, Dad didn't see me, and his name was Pappy. He was 20 years older than she. He gave me the world. I had a new car. I had
New Chevy convertible.
new Chevy
Beautiful.
convertible. That's how I met this guy, following me to a picnic.
Imagine that.
And
Is
I
that
had
how
the-
you guys met?
I had the
That's
nuns
why
in
I
the
married
car.
you, Jewel.
Just
Sweetheart. His first, yeah.
That's how you guys met? I never heard how you guys met. He followed you?
Yeah, he followed me. Then he wanted to know who was the girl you were looking for. I said,
Barbara
find her
Lashley,
yourself.
the girl with the
Let me
Cadillac
tell you
convertible.
about Jewel Marie. She had this beautiful new red Chevy convertible, a 41 convertible, and drove
You-
down to the sand dunes, quite a distance to
With a
Chicago.
nun
We
in
didn't
the
have
car.
interstates and that then. So I followed her with 4 other guys. We found out that they were going there, and these nuns wore those big habits. She was sitting there. She couldn't see who was following, so we followed. I took my brother's Ford convertible. I'll take these guys. We put all the money in for gas. I didn't know what it cost to get into the sand dunes in Indiana.
It was a long drive.
So the gate is locked, and there's a guy there, and it costs you money to get in. I don't know, 20 cents a piece or something. We didn't even have that. There was 4 of us. So I saw this girl come out and lift up that trunk of that convertible Chevy that these girls were in, and the nun.
You were ditching
And
school.
we yelled
too.
at her, or somebody, Johnny Fleming knew your name. Jewel, come over. You came over. We said, we haven't got any money to get in here. Could you get Barbara Lashley to come over and see if we can loan some money? And she said, go get her yourself, and turned around and walked away. Well, how the hell could we
I
get
had
in? We
a
didn't
nun
have
in
any
the
money.
car. I lived next door to the nuns. I went to St. Scholastica. on, you know, and my mother sent me to a Catholic school and everything, because I had gone to public school, and they knew every move you made. And then here I was taking the nuns, and that was a long drive to Indiana.
Sure, it was.
You had a lot of nerve.
Yeah.
But that would make you nervous trying to.
Did you know her beforehand?
And then,
No.
I
You
only
just
knew
saw-
who she was,
She-
that was all. And
was
we
the
went
car.
on that
The
thing,
car
and
was
then that
his
kind of got
attraction.
me. I thought, gee, she tells us to go in there and get her herself. And I thought, gee, I wouldn't forget her. So it was, I would see at dances and that's
You
about
couldn't
all.
dance worth a
And
day.
when I got out of the Army, I was on leave in the Army.
That's
And we
what
went
I
over to
really
see
liked.
Jay Keeney. She was a beautiful gal. And we wanted to go out and get ice cream cone or something like that because we were 20 years old then. And Jay said, I can't, I'm going out. Jewel Byrne is coming over to we're going to go to a movie. So we were still standing around and she pulled up driving her daddy's Cadillac and I started talking to her and I thought she was pretty nice. She wasn't telling us to go get our own money at that time. So one time we were in the ice cream parlor we used to
It was
hang
the
around
car
at
that
the
attracted
tavern,
you.
and one of the guys, and I was out of the service by then. This is another year later probably. And Phil Kuhn and Phil said, let's take some nice girls out sometime. And I said, yeah, I think I'd like that too. So I got somebody, and Phil said, in those days they had phone booths, usually 2 of them in a drugstore. So I went in the phone booth and I came out and I called her and she agreed to go. I think she hardly even knew who I was at the time.
I knew
And,
you
but I did a lot
Talked
of talking.
cars.
And Phil came out and he said, I got a date too with Janet. Well, the long and the short of it, we take him to where we think is a real nice,
God,
nice thing.
white
The
suit,
midget
I get.
car races down in Blue Island. That's a long ride
It was
too.
full of mud.
She's all dressed up like $1 million in a white suit, and so is Janet. Figuring we're going to take them out to dinner. These guys, because we were all cleaned up. We weren't rednecks. And as we're walking in, we got a little late as we're walking in under the stand. The midgets come by. In those days, they had dirt tracks, but they wet them down, and all the mud and everything flew up and hit them. Boy, were we a hit with
No
them.
wonder I ever went out with them again.
It's a long time.
Mud,
I think it was a long time.
whatever. But they're still married. They don't have as many kids as I do.
Yeah.
Grandchildren.
The same couple that you're talking about.
Uh-huh.
Right?
Yeah.
You know
Janet
him
and
still?
Phil.
Oh yeah,
He-
Phil
he's
Kuhn.
very
Yeah,
good.
yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah.
So they agreed that we would have some of our children named each other. Phil is still my friend. I talked to him yesterday. He's 80. He's a year younger
He's
than I
very
am.
ill. though.
But at any rate, at this point, we have a Janet. That was Janet's name, his wife.
Yeah,
Uh,
she was the godmother. I think.
they have a Charlie, but there's no Jewel. They named their girls all something else. There's no Jewel.
Okay.
They didn't
but
want to name one after you. We didn't have any boys that couldn't name one after Phil.
No. Well, I didn't get mad at him or anything.
Oh, no,
For
you
not
can't
naming.
get mad at them.
I have married Jewel. No.
So that's 66
It's a long
or
story.
7 years ago, and we're still friends. Phil.
65 and 66 years.
He had
It's a
eyes
long
so
time to
good.
be married.
When we were hunting the girls to date, in Chicago, the street lights were about
Jeez.
like a 60 lamp watt bulb on the corner. And reading these street signs, could hardly read them. Phil could pick them out all the time. He had 20/15 eyesight. He was in the Air
He's
Corps.
so sick. The poor guy.
Now he's got macular degeneration. He
can't
can't drive a
drive.
car anymore. Can't see. He's not blind, but he's legally blind.
He was the oldest of a lot of boys.
Yeah.
He had a rough time.
Yeah,
And those
6
kids
boys.
worked and did what they had to do by themselves. He put himself through college, and
Yeah.
I have a lot of
he
admiration
did,
for
yeah.
Phil.
He's the one that got
He's
me
a
in the
nice
car
guy.
business.
He's a very nice guy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Your mother
anyway.
and Jane were going to be born. We bought a new house. Your folks hoped to help
Loaned
us
us
out
money.
with part of the down payment. We bought the house and got it with no painting or anything inside. But it was a brick house, a very nice house.
What was a brick house?
The one in Glenview on the golf course.
That wasn't brick.
It was brick.
There were a couple
I
of
got a
bricks
picture of it.
underneath the
I got
tape.
a picture of it. It's
Well,
brick. It was brick.
wooden.
Brick, wood,
Without a garage.
whatever.
Without a garage.
It was a
So
beautiful
and it was on a golf
And we
course.
paid-
Can you imagine
yeah,
today?
paid that
Probably
every
worth
month.
400.
It was
Chesterfield Country Club.
I think the house was
Yeah,
$17,000,
golf
which was a fair amount in 1955.
17.
51 we bought it. So at any rate,
What are you doing with
we're.
that?
It's just
I worked
looking
as
at
an insurance adjuster on wrecked cars, you know. I know
Yeah.
you guys got to get going.
No,
Oh,
it's,
they have to go.
And I took a week
Horrifying.
off, or maybe it was 2 weeks off, to paint all the inside of that house. And come back to work, and I get to my desk, can't open the desk door. And we had a secretary that 3 of us used the same secretary, and her desk was next to mine. I said whatever her name was, Betty. What's the matter? I can't open the desk. She said, oh, I don't know. And she got up and walked away, and I thought, that's strange. So I turned around and looked, and here's Chappie. He called me Chappie. I hated that name. He wasn't a bad guy, but, oh, Chappie. Jeez, I hated that name. And he's like this to me, and I thought, uh-oh. I get up to his desk and sit down in the chair. Desk is clear except one envelope there. Now, what would you guess?
the envelope.
Fired.
Yeah, pink slip.
Oh, yeah,
Pink
I got
slip.
the pink slip. Got it.
That wasn't
And he
nice.
said, Chappie, you know, well, this was Korean War, 1951.
He had the nerve to call you Chappie even after he fired you.
Well, things they had to cut down on. There was a recession in 51, 52, and the recession they had to cut down. He said, you knew we were going to have to cut down. He said, you went on your vacation. I said, I didn't take a vacation, Lyle. I was doing it. He said, well, you still had files in your drawer. I said, well, they're not ready to be done yet. And I could see I was at a losing
Lost,
battle. I
yeah.
said, well, it's a done deal, isn't it, or whatever words they used. And he said, yes. And I said, well, he said, but I appreciated what you did, something like that. And I've talked to the XYZ insurance company upstairs, and they got a job waiting for you. You want it? I said,
Selling
Lyle,
cars.
I don't think I want to stay in this business. This is what happens with you.
Best thing ever
So I go
happened.
back to my desk, then he gave me the key, and I opened, got my personal things out. And the phone rang. It was Phil. Well, how's your first day back at work? I said, Phil, you can't believe it. I just got canned. He said, you're serious? You kidding me? I said, no, I got canned. He said, "Gee," and I worked hard at the job. I didn't get home till 6 o'clock at night and what have you. But somebody had to go, and I was the low man in the totem pole. He said, hey, you know, why don't you sell cars? I said, Phil, I tried that for 6 months one time. We almost starved to death. So
You did, but it was worth
in
it.
1950. So he said, no, this is a good place. It's in Winnetka. It's an Oldsmobile dealership, and they want a young guy to come in there and help out. The boss wants to get away from it. So I went up. I didn't tell Jewel about any of this. They hadn't had the babies yet. And
They came, we're
When
coming
I-
to a time.
so I would get up in the morning, get dressed, and go out. And look for a job, but right, like now, with no jobs available, it wasn't a depression,
Depression,
recession.
Yeah.
And everybody's scared at all these things. So finally, I got a call back from the people in Winnetka, and I went in, and the boss was there, and the sales manager, and we talked to him for a long time. And he said, "Can you excuse us?" And they left the thing. And I thought, "Oh shit! Here I get the ego on this thing too." They came back and said, in the office, "When can you start?"
They were so
I
nice to him.
said, "Are you hiring me?" And they said, "Yeah, when can you start?" I said, "Tomorrow, if you want." "Well, fine. Why don't you come in tomorrow?" And here's what we talked about payment and everything before. We'll go along with everything you said there, and that would be just fine. I went home and told Jewel, I've been fired, but I had a new job.
Yeah.
And
He was
she
so
had the
kind
babies
to
a
us. to
month
us.
or so
In
later.
fact, years later, we borrowed a down payment on a house. We
Yeah.
didn't pay him back for 2 years
Yeah,
or something.
yeah.
He was the
he did.
nicest man. He had a son who was kind of, he gave him too much.
Oh.
So, but it was a wonderful life. The kid
That
was with
house,
cars.
now Julie looked it up on the thing about 2 years
I
ago
think
when
I
they were
remember saying something.
340,000 or something. It was
Paid 17.
1,200 square feet or something like that. But it had a basement,
We paid 17.
which is an interesting thing. You guys got to go.
Yeah, story
Oh,
of
go
his
ahead.
life. He'll write you a book.
No, it's fine.
Let's hear it. Yeah.
Bob Corcoran, neat
He
guy.
loved
lived
the
2
job.
doors. Every other
He
house
loved
did
it
not
with
have a
passion.
basement.
Really?
Well, cut the price down.
Yeah.
What, $1,200 or whatever. That was a lot.
Why did we
then,
like the basement? 'Cause they never had a
1951. That was
washing
almost
machine.
10% the price of the house.
Yeah.
So he called me. He said, "Hey Chuck, I got my my tax thing on the house. And geez, what's your bill?" We were young men in our 20s, you know. Oh, mine was 400, whatever it was. He said, "Geez, mine is 500 and something, whatever the numbers were." I said, "Oh, God darn, I'm going to go down there and I'm going to talk to him at the city hall. We had identical houses, but they take
did?
one and turn it this way, you know.
Right.
Every other one. So he called me back again. I like Bob Cork, Bob and Carol.
Oh, Bob.
Bob
Yeah.
and Carol, remember, she was a blonde.
Really like
He
her.
said, Chuck, he came over and he said, come on over, I want to buy you a beer. I said, okay, and it was just 3 doors away about, maybe. He said, you know, I feel bad about going down to the city hall. I said, Jesus, did you go down there? Well, he said, well, I told him what yours was, too. I said,
It's not yours,
Jesus,
it's
Bob, what did you do that
What do you
for?
mean? I don't understand.
He said, but they said, oh, well.